So, good afternoon, everyone. Now I'm going to start the today's topic, that is workflow automation in UiPath. And I think the installation process of this UiPath software has already been done. So we'll start further. Like what content will be covered in this session is like how many types of workflows are there. That is type of workflow. So the workflows available in the UiPath are sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handlers. Okay, so we'll cover each and every topic one by one. Okay, and in between we'll cover the variables which are required to cover these topics also. Okay, and some hands-on session will also be there. So let's start with this, the types of workflow of files in UiPath. So basically, so types of file. So here, basically, there are four types of files or workflows. A project consists of a main file. If you will open this UiPath, and here I'm going to open, this is the UiPath software which has been installed by me. So here I'm going to create the new project, means like new process. So you can rename it, or if you want you can write it as it is, that is blank process 35, or if you want you can change its name. Okay, so suppose I rename it to today. So now this process will get created, and I'm considering that this about this UiPath Studio has, if it has been installed, then everything you know about this, like it has been already covered. So it is adding some dependencies, so we have to wait for a few minutes. Yeah, and we are here. So this is our main page. Okay, so we are talking about this main page only. So now come back to the PPT again. So a project consists of a main file by default. So as you have seen, like when I created the process and whenever this page come up, so here what I can find is the means all the activity panel and project panel, snippet panel, properties panel, everything is there, and one main file is also here. Okay, so where a workflow is designed. So here only in this main file we can design our workflow. What process you want to get completed, you can design your workflow in this main file also. So it is a .xaml file. So this file gets stored somewhere in your UI document folder. So it is in the extension is .xaml file. Okay. So additional files can also be created using the new button. So as I'm talking about that, there are basically four types of the files or workflows. So that are the sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handlers. So you can find it here, like this is the main file which comes by default, but if you want you can create more workflows or files from here. You can see here is the new option inside the design panel, and you can create the sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handler. Okay, so global handler basically used to handle some type of the exceptions only, so it is not being used, but we use basically the sequence, flowchart, and state machine we will cover in this session. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the first workflow, that is the sequence. So what is a sequence? Sequence is an activity. An activity is a unit of task, means it is consists of the number of tasks, and it act as a single unit. It is a combination of activities from a sequence. So here a lot of activities will get added and a workflow will get created. Okay, so sequence is used for processes that happen in the linear succession, means if you add n number of activities, suppose here I'll create one sequence. When I create one sequence, if you want you can change the name, if you don't want just leave this one as it is. Now you can see this is the main file and this is the sequence, the new workflow I created here. Okay, so this is the sequence. You can identify by seeing this symbol also, like if you want to rename, means you are developing some project and you want to rename this sequence name. So when you create new and the sequence, and whenever you write whatever name you write, the same name will appear here, or you can change it from here. Suppose this is the properties panel. Okay, the right side you can see this is the properties panel, and here suppose I write something as demo, and you can see here now the name has changed to demo, and you can identify the sequence like this is this box is a sequence by seeing this symbol also. Okay, so the sequence, as it has already been told, that it is used for the processes that happen in a linear succession, that is one after the another. So here you can add some activities like, now suppose this is the activity panel, okay, and this is the project panel. So here from here you can add the activities, so whatever activities you want you can add it here. So you can see they are added in a, means they are get added on whenever it get executed in a linear manner. The firstly this activity will get executed, after that this one, and this like this one, means after one by one every activity will get executed. Okay, so this is the meaning of the sequence here. So a sequence is used for processes that happen in a linear succession, that is one after the another. Okay, so as I have means we have already seen that, open the UiPath Studio and click on the blank start. Okay, one more thing I want to cover, like if you want to add sequence, like if you add sequence from here, from going to this design panel and new, if you add sequence from here, the new workflow or this type of file will get created. But if you want to add this sequence in the main file, then you can search for the sequence from the activities panel. You can see here this is the sequence. Now you can add, just double click here and this will get added, or you can drag and drop it here in this main page. So this is how you can add the sequence inside this main page. Okay, so here also the function is same. Now so open UiPath Studio and click on the blank to start a fresh project that we have done. Give it a meaningful name. Okay, so this already been told, like you can give a meaningful name to this one. On the designer panel, drag and drop a flowchart. Okay, so here by mistake it has been written here. I'm talking about the sequence, so it should be a sequence here. Okay, now what is the now continuing to this only, the sequences are the smallest type of the project in UiPath. Like here we have already told that here this we have the four types of the workflows, that are the sequence, flowchart, and the state machine. So the sequence is the smallest type of workflow present in the UiPath. Okay, so they are suitable to the linear processes, as they are enable you to go from one activity to the another activity seamlessly and act as a single block of activity, because they all are present inside a single block. We can see from here, and they executed one by one after the another. So that is why it is being said like they act as a single block of activity. One of the key feature, what is the key feature of a sequence, is that they can be reused time and again, means you can use it again and again in a standalone automation. Like you can create your project or sequence here, like I created this sequence, and if I want to use this in our main project or somewhere, then I can call it. Okay, so that option is also available. Now this is the sequence, like double click on the sequence, and this I already added, like in the main, like if you want to add the sequence, then you can add the sequence like this. You can search in the activities panel. This is done here, like I search for the sequence here in the activities panel, so sequence get added. Now if you want to activity inside the sequence, then just double click here, just double click here, and now you can see here drop activities here. So whatever activity you want, means whatever process you want to get completed, you can add the activities here. So suppose I'll add this activity, you want to add more activities, so you can add activities from three positions. That is the, you can search it here in the activities panel, just double click on the activity, it will get added. Otherwise you can drag and drop, or you can search it in the universal search bar. So just click on this plus option, and this universal search bar will get open, and search for the activity which you want to add in your workflow, so it will get added. You can see, like I'll add something. So this has been added. I just double clicked on that particular activity. Okay, so the next Here I'm going to create the basic program that is to greet with your name. Okay, so here what activities are available. So before going to this, I'm going to tell you something about the input dialog box activity, because we need input dialog box activity here. So what is the input dialog box activity here? Basically, the input dialog box is a dialog box that appear with a message or a question. Okay, and in response to which the user is required to put in his or her reply. Whatever the question is, based on that question, you have to provide the means user will provide the input. So this is the input dialog box activity. So here, as our question is like, ki what we need, like here we need to greet the with your name. So your name, I want your name to be provided by you only. So for that, if means like if user is involved in providing some input, then I use this input dialog box activity. Okay, so let's start with this. So now I'm going to, and this is our first example. Okay, now what I want the mean system or the this to greet with your name. Okay, so for that, first activity which I want is the input dialog box activity. So I'll search for the input dialog box activity here in the input, this input dialog box, just drag and drop it here. Okay, so as you will add this input dialog box, you will find this four fields here. Okay, some of you maybe find two, it's based on the version you installed. Okay, so if you find true, then two fields only, even though it doesn't make any difference, both of them working in the similar manner. So firstly, what we need here, the dialog title means the dialog box which appear what title you want to give. Then the next field is about the input label, means the label, it appears like as a question, like please enter your name. Okay, so like if I write the title here something, here the title will be, and the title whatever you will provide, it will be in the form of the string, so it should always be in the inside the double quotes. So you have to use the double quotes. And the title, dialog title, I'm writing as name, because what I want the user to enter his or her name. Okay, so now after that, so name is created here, and you can write here also from the properties panel. So you can see whatever I'm writing here, its change get reflected here also in the properties panel. Now the input label in the sense, the you have to provide the, like you need to write the question. So here I'll write please enter your name. Okay, so here I ask user to please enter your name. So now if I'll click OK here, and it will get, you can see in this label, please enter your name has been written. So means you can write it directly from here, or you can write it, just click on these three dots and you will get, you can write it from here also. Okay, now this is the input type, it is a text box type only. Okay, and the multiple choice, so I'm not asking for the multiple choice, it will be in the form of the text box only, so leave this as it is. And now whatever value, suppose here whatever value provided by the user, so it should also get stored somewhere. So suppose here if I'll not write anything, I'll just leave this one as blank. And after that, just to show you that what effect it will cause. Okay, and after that, to greet it somewhere, I'm going to use this message box activity. Message box activity, it will just display a message. Okay, and here I'll write as hello. Now, so if I'll write hello, and then the name of the person should also get appear here, and the message box, whatever you will write in the message box, it should also be in the form of the string. So it should be inside the double quotes. So whatever you will write, it should be inside the double quotes. Now if I debug the program, okay, so you can debug it from here. Now if I debug the program, So you can see the things I have written, the dialog title. My dialog title is name. So you can find the name here at the top of this input dialog box. Okay. And after that, the next here input label. So inside this input label field, what please enter your name. So here it get reflected here. Please enter your name. Okay. And now suppose if I'll enter my name. So here I have written my name as Shalini. Okay, and I want this name to get reflected or means and get popped up through this message box. So if I'll press OK here, okay, and but what I can find here is only the hello. Why I'm not getting hello Shalini, because but I have entered my name, because the reason is I have not stored this data means my name somewhere. I need to store this data in some variable. Okay, so for that here I'll create one variable. Okay, so variable will cover after this, but so to create a variable, the option available to me, just right click here and you can find this create variable. Okay, and now the variable I'm going to create is this as a name, and just press enter. Okay, and what I want the name this hello plus my name. So what I'll do, I'll add plus, then I need to provide the space. So for that I'll use this double quotes and with space, and after that I'll add this variable name which I just created. Okay, so whatever name you will enter, it will get stored in this variable and you can display it using this message box. So just debug this program again. Now it is again asking me to enter the name. So suppose now I'm entering again my name. That is, now you can see what you are getting. Hello Shalini. Okay, so this was our first task that we need to complete. Right, this is to create a program to create with your name. Okay, so here the steps we perform. Now I'm again going to repeat it. Like firstly we need to drag and drop a sequence that we have done. We have created a sequence from here and renamed it to the first example. Okay, so same name is getting reflected here also. And after that what I have done, the next step I used is the input dialog box activity. So input dialog box activity I have taken to store the name, means to take the input from the user. Okay, so now user will provide the input, and based on this input what I have done, after that I have used this message box activity. Okay, so display the name entered by the user. So three things I have done. And yeah, one more thing, inside the input dialog box I created one variable to store the data or the store the input entered by the user. So I think this activity is clear to everyone. If anyone having any doubts, please ask me. Any doubts till this point? Okay, so I'm moving further.
So, post your doubt also.
Sir, saying something, unable to get you clearly. Your voice is not clear.
No, the participants can post the doubt in the chat box also. That's
Okay,
all.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, 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 sir. So we have seen this message box activity, and one more activity is here, that is write line activity. So what is the difference between the message box activity and the write line activity? So whenever you want the output to be displayed here in the output console panel, that is here, this is the output panel. Okay, if you want your name or whatever output you are getting to be displayed here, then I use the write line activity. Okay, and message box that we have seen, like here you will get output in the form of a pop-up box. Okay, so display a message with a box with a given text that has to be shown to the user. So here the output will be shown in the form of a message box or a pop-up box. And whenever you will use this write line activity, so in case of the write line activity, you will get the output here in the output panel. Okay, so suppose instead of this, you can comment the activities also, like just right click on the activity, and here you can find the option to comment or the disable activity. Okay, so control plus D, either you can press or just disable the activity from here. So now this activity will get commented. Okay, now I'll write the use the write line activity, and here I'll write simply as hello. I want to actually here plus I'm using to concatenate the things, that is this is the string and this the variable. Okay, so hello, and then I want to provide the space in between, this the variable. So just debug it. Suppose here I'll enter some name. Suppose I'm entering this, and now you can see the output. I'm not getting any type of message box, but what I'll get here, hello Arun, I am getting output here in the output console panel. So if you want, so I think you can differentiate between these two activities, the write line activity and message box activity. In case of the message box activity, you will get a pop-up, and while in case of this write line activity, you will get the output here in the output console panel. Okay, so now I'm moving further to the variables. So basically,
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
yeah.
The thing is there more number of UA controls, GUI controls in UiPath, or we have only text box, combo box only? Is it
So
supports
you,
more ARM
yeah.
controls? Okay, where it can be, we can find it.
So like, sorry, sir, your voice is not clear. Actually, some echo is from background. Unable to understand your question. Yeah.
Is it okay now? I'm
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, sir.
My question is that UiPath, is it supports more number of GUI controls?
Yeah, in UiPath, you are asking more number of GUI controls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So the next I'm going to talk about the variables, like what are variables basically, and how we can create the variables in the UI path. So what is variable basically? Variables are the nothing but the containers whereby we can store the values. So variables may be defined as a symbolic name associated with a value that may change. In UiPath Studio, variable are of different types that are used to store the multiple types of the data. It may be a generic value, text, number, data, table, time, anything. It can be anything. Okay, so one important use of the variable is that we can control the number of times the body of the loops is executed because of the value of variable. Here variable, as I already told you, variables are nothing but the containers which would the value of the variable get changed simultaneously as it gets updated. Okay, so here as the first variable which I created here in this sequence, the activity which we just performed is just by here. Okay, so here there are basically three methods by which you can create the variables. The first method is like you can directly click on the field where you want to create the variable, like I here the value entered, here I created the variable with the others name. Okay, so here what I have done, just right click, and here I can find this option of create variable activity, and I created this particular variable. The second option available to me is you can go from here variables, just downward here you can find the variables argument and import. So now I'm going to create the variable. So here whatever variables you have created, you can see here, you can see the name variable I have already created, so this is available here. Or if you want to create more variable, so by default you will get this type of name, so you can rename the variable from here. Okay, so whatever name you want, suppose I'll write something as first. So this is variable get created. Okay, so wherever you want you can use it. Now the variable type, from where you can change the variable type. So suppose just here you can see this downward arrow, just click on this and here you can find the number of variables. If you unable to find the variable which you are which you want to use, then you can browse for the types of variables. So here you will find a list. Inside this you will find the variables required to you. Okay, so like whenever the means the further in further session you will need such type of variables that will be used from here only. Okay, so here from here you can select the type of the variable, whatever type you are going to use. The next thing is the scope of the variable. Like you can see here the scope of this particular variable is first example is the whole sequence. So I can use this variable the complete whole sequence. I can call this variable at any point of time. I will not get any type of error. But suppose I'll change the sequence means currently I'm not getting the option. Like if I take some type of example where the variable scope we can define, like whenever you will run about the flow chart, so there we can specify this variable scope. So if you will limit the scope of a variable and if you want to use the that particular variable outside that scope, then you will get some type of error. Okay, so that is why it's better practice to change, means the scope of the variable should be the whole sequence or whole flowchart, whatever workflow you have created. Okay, and the default here, the default option, you can inside this default option you can write the default value of any variable if you want to assign. Okay, and one more thing, like if you want to create the variable directly in the field, so instead of right clicking you can click the control plus K from your keyboard, so you will get this type set variable. Now you can write the name of the variable which you want to use. Okay, so here we created the variable. So now we have seen this also, that how you create the name of the variable type, its scope, and what is default here we have already covered. So name, here name is a mandatory field. We must have to give a name to a variable. And suppose if you are not giving any name, then UiPath you can have already seen, like if you will not assign any name, UiPath automatically will give such type of name like variable 1, variable 2. So this type of name will be provided to you by the UI path. Okay, so it is recommended that we follow the naming convention. Okay, now here it is also mandatory field that, okay, so this is variable type, scope, default, everything we have covered. Like variable type you can means select the type of variable you want, and this is scope and default. I'm moving further to the next slide. Okay, so here the types of variable. So the following are the types of variable that we can use in a UiPath Studio. So the first one is the text variable. So as its name suggests, or so such type of the text, as the name is, its name is text. So that the first example which we have covered related to the name, so that was also a text. So text variables are basically are of the, it stores only the string. Okay, so for example you want to store the information like name that we have done, last name, username, etc., then we use such type of the string variable. Okay, the next variable is the boolean variable. So boolean variable, what boolean value will return to you, like whether the value is true or the false. Suppose you created two variable and place some condition, like suppose I created two variable x and y, and I put a condition like x equal to y. If this is true, then I'll get output as true, otherwise the false. So the output will be in the form of the true and false in case of the boolean variable. Now the next is the integer variable. Suppose you want to assign a number. So whenever you want to use a number, then we use the integer type of variable. Okay, and suppose integer, suppose in case of the number we use a mobile number. So a mobile number is a large number which you cannot store inside the integer 32. For that you can search for the double variable. So double variable you have to browse it from the this, you have to search it from this browse type. Okay, here if you will search for the double, then you will find something, or search for the system dot double. So here you can find the this variable. Now variable type has changed to double, and this indication, now you can see here I'm getting some indication. So this is the indication of the error. Okay, like here in this particular activity I have some type of error. The error I'm getting because the variable type here, what is the error? We cannot add this some, because this double variable with the string. Okay, so I need to convert this double into string. So for that the option available to me is like you have to write dot to string. Whenever you will write dot to string, so this name or the variable, whatever variable you created, it will get converted into the string variable type. Okay, now array variable. So if values of the C, then we use the array variable that you can also assign from here. So just downward and you can see array of, and you can select the option array of whatever variable, you can select it from here. So this is how you can select the array of any variable. Okay, now date and time variable and data type variable. So as here the name suggests that this kind of variable enables us to inform the store the information about the and time. So that this we'll see in the demonstration part how we can get the value of date and time from this UiPath Studio. And this next is the data table variable. So this data table variable is used to store the big type of data. Suppose whenever you will use the Excel automation, means go for the Excel automation, or you extract the data from by using the data scrapping method, then you use this data table type of variable. Okay, so these are some examples or the variables which you can use. Other than this, a lot of variables types of available. Like you need to create the dictionary here. So dictionary type of variables are here. So based on your requirement, you can select the variable type from there. Okay, so now how to create a variable. Okay, so here to create a variable, this we have already seen. So I'm going to do this. To delete a variable, so just to delete a variable, select a variable and just press delete from your keyboard, or right click here and delete the variable from here. So now my variable get deleted. Two options are available. First, you can select the variable and delete it, or the next is just right click and you will get the option to delete the variable. Your variable get deleted. Okay. Now the naming conventions, that how to, like while working in a UiPath, we must have to assign the names to the workflow, files, activities, argument, and the variable. We need to assign the name that we have already seen. Like whenever we created a sequence, I have to identify my project. I created this with the name of the first example. Okay, in the same manner the variable here I created with name, so that I identify like for what purpose I have created this particular here. If I talk about the project, and here I talk about this variable to be used in my project. Okay, so here, while working in the UiPath, we must have to assign the names to the workflow files, activities, arguments, and the variables. Okay, so I want to tell you one more thing, that what is the difference between a variable and argument. Okay, I'm not going to take the this demonstration part of this argument, but just simply I'm going to tell you the basic difference. Whenever you will create a variable, because you are getting the option of both the things here, the one is the variable and here you are getting the option of the arguments. So whenever you will create a variable, so you can create the variables which you have created, you can use this particular variable only inside this particular workflow, whether it is sequence, flowchart, or anything, I mean state machine. So you can create the variables created, you can use it inside this complete workflow, means the scope you have assigned. But the arguments can be used, means I create some argument here and I can use this particular argument in this particular file. So argument variable can be used in only single workflow, while the argument I can import somewhere, means in different file I can call the arguments. Okay, so this is some basic difference between these two. So to give a meaningful names, UiPath provide us the following naming convention, which is recommended to follow. So variables name must be in the upper camel case. So upper camel case is like we need not to provide any space in between the characters like first and name. I will not create means give any space. Instead, what I will do, I'll write the first letter of each this word with the capital letters. So you can see the first and name. So I can identify that I created this variable for the first name, right? Like this. This is the second name. In case of the argument it should be in the upper camel case along with the prefix showing the type of the argument. So basically the types of there are four types of arguments, that is in out, and this the last one is the properties. So you can see it from here. If you create any argument, so here you will get the option of the direction, because I already told you that you can use the arguments with different workflows. So here is the direction where you want to use in. If you will select the in, you can use it within the sequence. If you will use the out, you can use it with the means in the different workflow where you will call it. Okay, in out you can use it both the places. Like suppose I created the argument here, then I can use it here first example also, and this in main file also. Okay, property it is not being used practically, so we are not using it. Only three of this in out and this in out we'll use. Okay, so to assign this here also you assign it like this in file name, so that you can identify that where you are going to use this particular variable. Okay, now the name of the activities must be reflected the action taken. Okay, so whatever, suppose for example, click the delete button. So here the activities are given and the name of you assigned, like the I created with the name, the sequence I created or the workflow which I created, I assigned it as a first name so that I identify this particular project for it somewhere means later on if I refer, so that I can identify that I created this workflow for this FTP program which held on 9/12/2020. That is why whenever I created the I have written the name of that particular I written the name as the today's date. Okay, so here it is written that proper naming of the activity variables as well the argument reduce the effort to read and understand the project. Somehow if you hand over your projects to someone, then he will able to identify means understand that what the these variables for what purpose you created this variables. Okay, now the legal variables means the variables which are accepted. So suppose here creating this underscore sign, so my underscore name, so this is a legal variable. The first name variable if you create, the I already told this is in the camel case, so this is also accepted. Last name, dob, all these are the accepted variables or legal variables. What are the illegal variables? Then you cannot start any variable with the number. So if you will create any variable with the number, you will get error. So suppose I'll create one variable here. 9. So you can see 9 is not a valid variable name. So you cannot create the variable which starts with the number. Okay. And you cannot use any type of sign like here. If you use this hyphen sign, so this will also give you an error. You cannot also provide the space. So these are some illegal variable. The above quoted example are not the valid character name. Variable contain only three letters. This, oh, sorry, only letters or underscore and digits. Okay, so you cannot start with the digit and any special sign except the underscore. Start with the underscore. Now here we will this assign activity I'll take later. Okay, so here I'm going, as we have covered the variable, so now I'm going to the second example, that is create a sequence that ask the user for or his or her first and last name and the hair color, and then display his answer using a message box. Okay, so here what we have to do, we need to create the we have to create this particular workflow. by using the sequence. So what we need, as I have already told you in the first example, like where we use for the greeting with the name. Okay, so there what we have taken the input dialog box activity, to take the input from the user. So in the same manner here also I want the input from the user. So for that I'll take because what I want user to provide his first name, then his last name, and then his or her hair color. Okay, and then after that I will display it using a message box. So for what I want three input dialog box activity. Okay, so let's start with this example. This is example second. So what I want three input dialog box activity. So here I added three input dialog box activity. Now the first one is for the first name. So and input label, what I want inside this input label, I'll write please enter your first name. Okay, after that what I want, it should be stored in some variable. So for that I'll press Ctrl K, and now I'll create the variable. This is first and underscore name. Okay, so this is for the first name. Now come to the second input dialog box. So here what I want, dialog title as the this is for last name. Okay, last name, and input label, please enter your last name. Okay, so that user will provide. And here also again I need to store this data in some variable. So for that I'll create one variable as last name. Okay, now again come to here, this is for hair color. So it should be inside the double quotes. This is for hair color, please hair color. Okay, now it should also get stored in some variable. So control K, and I will create for the variable as hair color. Now three variables, now you can see here, and all of type, the type is of string type. Three variables I created, first name, last name, and this is for the hair color, and scope is the whole example or the whole sequence. Now after that I want to display whatever input is provided by the user, I want to display it using the message box. Okay, so for that I'll search for the message box activity. So you can see. Now, what I want, here I'll write this is the first name. Means suppose XYZ, the name of the person. Okay, XYZ. After that, I want to put the space between the first name and his or her surname, and after that, I'll add the surname. Means the last name entered by the user. Okay, so here I'll enter the last name. So this is the name of the person XYZ. Now I want to add the space in between. has. Okay, so I need to put double quotes, otherwise I'll get error. The name on this, the hair color, or instead I'll here space, and then I'll write as color. This hair color. Okay, now I'm going to debug this particular example. So now you can see here it is asking me to enter the first name. Okay, so suppose I'll write this as Pooja. Okay, and now I need to enter the last name. So Pooja Singh. Now it is asking me to enter the hair color of Pooja. So suppose I'll write this as black. So here you can see Pooja Singh has black hair color, or my statement is not right, but you can see whatever input is provided by the user is being displayed here. Okay, so the first name is Pooja, I entered, and this is the last name. And the last name I entered at Singh, and then has, and then after in between this I have not the space, that is why I am not getting the space here. And then black, I entered the hair color, and after that I have added one string. I added one string, so that I am getting here. Okay, so this is how you can create this type of activities. Okay, so this activity get completed, like create a sequence that asks the user for his first name, first and last name of the, and his hair color. Okay, so this we have completed by using 3 input dialog box activity and 1 message box activity I used. Okay, so now moving further, now this example, number variable example. So here what I'm going to calculate, like here how to calculate the current age of a person. So for that what I need, I'll ask the user to provide the year, the birth year. Okay, so for that again, whenever you want to take the input from the user, then you will use the input dialog box activity. Okay, and after that what I'll use, here firstly I'll use one input dialog box activity. So here I'll ask the user to provide the birth year. Whenever he will provide the birth year, and birth year will be of integer type, because I have to perform some mathematical operation, that is why I'll convert this to the integer type. Okay, and after that what I want, I'll do this calculation by using the assign activity. So assign activity, I already left here. So assign activity, whenever you will assign activity, it will look like this. So here this activity enables to assign a value to a variable. So here you can assign a variable, and whatever value or mathematical operation you want to perform, you can perform here. Okay, so to explain the functionality of this activity, let us create the automation task of addition of two number, or the this particular activity which I'm going to perform. So here I'll assign this, I'll use this assign activity, and here inside this assign activity, inside the two part, I'll create one variable with age, and the value part I'll create this, the current year minus the year entered by the user. Okay, and the this whatever the output will come in this value, I'll display it using the message box, so that we will get the current age of the person. So let's start with this example. So firstly, what I'll take this input dialog box. Okay, and here what I want dialog title will be birth here. Okay, and here I'll ask user to provide the please enter your birth year. Okay, so here user will provide the input and it should be stored in some variable. So for that here I'll create one variable. So for that I'll press Ctrl K and the variable will be this variable get created. Okay, after that what I need to change, I need to change this variable type. So from here I'll change the variable type to integer 32 and after that I'll add one assign activity. Now you can see here I'm getting this 2 part and here the value part. So inside the 2 part I'll create one variable where you want to store the this output. So for that I'll create one variable just by pressing Ctrl K with the name value and the operation I'm going to perform here is 2020 minus the year provided by the user. Okay. Okay, so the I'm getting error here because the value variable which I created, it is of the string type. So I need to convert this to the integer type. Now error get removed. Okay, and I want to display the output using this message box. So simply I'm going to display this value, whatever output will come. Same thing I want to display here. Okay, so let's start with this debugging. So suppose I'll enter the year as 1990. Okay, so now you can see I'm getting the output that this is the person who is born in 1990. Now he's of 30 years. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the current output and you can change the variable types also. Okay, so suppose someone born in 1980s, so he is of 40 years. Okay, so in the same manner, so three activities I use. The first one is the input dialog box activity to take the input from the user. Okay, and after that I have used this assign activity to perform some mathematical operations, and after performing this mathematical operation I stored the value in this value variable which I created, that is of integer type, and then I displayed the output using this message box activity. Okay, so let's move further. Now string variable. So write line activity we have already covered. So string variable, here we will see the substring, basically the string variable we created. In string variable only we will see this, like what is this substring. So substring basically, if I want to extract only, suppose the name entered by me was my name Shalini Mishra. Okay, and I want to extract only s of the this particular string. So how can we do this? We can perform this activity by using this this substring. Okay, and substring, and in between I need to provide the range. Suppose I entered this as Shalini. Okay, so the Shalini, or suppose this string only I'll take. So string, the s will start with the 0. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, now if I write this range as 0 comma 3, so what output I'll get? So it will start with the 0 but end with n minus 1. Means if it is written here 3, so output I'll get as n minus 1, means n minus 1, in the sense the output will be 2. So the output I'll get here is str only, not this I. So output will be 0 to n minus 3. Okay, so this is the name dot substring. So string variable. So to here basically the string variable I have taken only to take this particular activity, that is substring. Okay, so suppose if I created the first example, only in this first example enable this particular activity, the first example which I have taken, uh, double click, just right click and enable this particular activity, or directly you can press Control E. Okay, so I need to again create the variable. So firstly I'll take the input from the user, so he'll enter some name, and after that I'll use this particular operation, that is substring. So how can we use this substring operation, that we'll see here. So the name entered by user will get stored somewhere, so for that I'll create the variable as name. Okay, and in between these two I'll use one assign activity, and here inside this assign activity I'll create one variable with the, suppose I created with the name string only. Okay, okay, I cannot identify. And underscore substring. So for that I created this variable, and here I want to apply this substring where, in this particular name variable. So firstly I'll write this, search for this name variable, and now I'll click dot. As you will click dot, you will get a lot of options. Okay, so what I want, I'll search for the substring. Okay, so you can see the function string dot substring, start index as integer and the length as the integer you have to provide. So now I'll start with the, I want to extract only s of Shalini. So for that I'll write 0 comma 1, because s will start with the, means in this range s will come out. Okay, that we have seen in this, and here I'll display it using this, where this output will get stored in this and underscore this subject. So here it will get stored, and now I'll display it using the message box. So here I'll write the name as Shalini, and now you can see what output I'm getting, only s, because I have used here this substring method. If I'll change the range, suppose I'll change the range to 0 to 3 and just debug it. Now if I'll perform this particular activity, then what I'll output I'll get s, it will start with a 0 1 2, means the output I'll get as sha only. Okay, so let's perform it. You can see the output I'm getting as sha. So this is the substring method in this UI path. Now this is the date and time variable. So to access the date and time, what you can do, you can simply, so this is the fourth example. Okay, so here what we want to do, here we want to use this date and time variable. So by using this date and time variable, we will print the current date and time. Okay, so here we already added one sequence, and now I am going to use this assign activity. So here assign, inside this assign activity I'll create, inside the to part I'll create one variable, and the value part I'll use this function as now. So this function will return you the, now function will return you the, gives the current date and time. Okay, so you can see the time here, the same date and time I will get. Okay, so let's see this, or you can directly, I'll use this message box. Okay, and if I'll write now, and if I debug this one, So now you can see what I output I am getting. This is the today's date and this is the today's time. Okay, so this is the now function, and suppose I'll add a sign activity also. By using the sign activity, I'll show you. Date and time. Now I'll use the now function here. Okay, but here what I'm getting the output. So I need to change this to, you have to browse for the time. System dot date time. Okay, you need to change it to system dot date time. Now error get removed, and here I'll print this date and time variable. So this is by creating the variable. Here I directly displayed the output. Here also you will get the same output. You can see the current date and time. Now if you want to short it, you can here also just put dot, and you can write dot date. Means like if you want to display only date or only time, then you can add it. Just write dot to short date string. Just click here and debug it. So here I'm getting output as only date, and if you want only time, then you can go for the second one that I was getting, like dot to short time string. Okay, so let's move further. We have to cover a lot of things. Now let's come to the flowchart. Okay, so here a flowchart is generally used for the complex business processes. So it's flowchart like we have, some of you may have used the C language. So the flowchart we create in the same manner. Here also we add the activities in the flowchart manner. So flowchart basically we use for the sequence we use for the small processes, and the flowchart we use for the complex business processes. Here it also provides you the decision making facility. So one flow decision activity is there, so that we use for the to make the decision. Okay, so we can use this particular flow chart for both the small and large project. So it provides multiple branching logical operator to make the decision. It able to run in the reverse direction, and it can be used inside the, you can use both the flow chart inside a sequence and in this sequence inside a flow chart. Both the things is possible, means vice versa is possible. Okay, so here a flowchart is a graphical representation of a process. Okay, so like here, this is the symbol of the sequence, and here if you add this flowchart, so this is the look of the flowchart. This is the start node you will get, and here by seeing this symbol, you can identify the flowchart. Okay, and if you will activities here, so now your activities get added here like this, and you need to connect these activities one by one. But what happened in case of the sequence? It automatically get added to the previous one. Okay, so this is the way to add the flowchart. So flowchart is one of the best amongst the three layout diagram of the UiPath workflow because it is flexible and tend to lay out a workflow in the two-dimensional method. They can showcase the decision point within a process very efficiently owing to their visual appeal. Because you can visualize each and activity very easily. So here it is the best among the three workflows available that I already told you. Like global handler, we are not using only the three activities, the three workflows, the sequence, flowchart, and the state machine. Out of these three, this flowchart is the best among these three. Now here we will take the example, like enter two numbers. So the two numbers will be provided by the end user. We will take input from the users and check whether their sum is less than 20 or not. Okay. So for that, So, saying something, someone? So here we will take this example, like we will add two numbers by taking the input from the users. Here I have added two input dialog box because I want two number to be provided by the user. Okay, here I need to connect this to the start node. So start node you can connect by dragging like this, or you have the second option. Just right click in this particular input dialog box and you can see the option here like set as a start node. Okay, so now this will add it as a start node. This is for the number. Please enter first number and it should be stored somewhere. So this is the first number variable I created. Okay, now actually I copied the first input dialog box so that I want to change only few things, otherwise I need to write each and everything. That is why I simply copied Control C. Okay, so this is the second number and here instead of the first number I'll ask user to provide the second number. This is the second number and I'll create the variable here as second number. Okay, so two variables, two input dialog box I created, and now I need to connect the second input dialog with the previous one. Okay, and after that what I'll do, I'll use one assign activity here and just connect it to the previous one. Here also I'll create one variable, control K, and here I'll create one variable as sum. Okay, so sum will be, and before that, because I need to perform some mathematical operation, I need to convert this to the integer. Where is the thing? There is some problem, this variable not created. This is the second variable. Now it's created, so this is of also of the integer type. Okay, so here we will add these two numbers and we need to check whether their sum should means we have to apply the condition also, that you'll see first number plus the second number. So these two things done. After that I'll use this flow decision activity to make the decision here. Okay, now if you click here you can find the condition. Come to the properties panel of this flow decision, so you can find you have to write the condition. So here I'll write the sum should be less than 20. Okay, so this condition I written. Now you can see the two branches, the true and false. If it is true then what, and if it is false then what you want. So here I'll use this message box, and if this is false then again I'll use the message box only to display sum is less than 20. Okay, this is done. Come out of this and now click here. Sum is greater than 20. This is also done. Now let's debug this particular activity. So what we have done, we have taken two input dialog box. So this is for the first number. So suppose I'll enter the number as 5, and now it is asking me to enter the second number. So the second number I'll enter this one as 10. Okay, and now what I'm getting, sum is less than 20, because the condition I have written, the assign activity sum done means 5 plus 10, that is 15. So 15 is less than 20, and here it comes to the true side, and sum is less than 20. Whatever I have written in the message box, same thing get displayed here. Okay, suppose something I'll write something else. This is 20 and this is 25. Sum is greater than 20. So false side gets executed. Okay. So this is how you can add the flow decision inside this. Now the next activity is related to the, somehow it is similar also. Like here you need to finding whether the two numbers are divisible or not, or you can say we have to find like whether the number is even or odd. So here you can simply use the mod. Okay, mod operation by taking the input from the user and divide that particular number entered by the user by 2, and if your value comes to 0, so the number will be even, otherwise the number will be odd. So you have to perform this by yourself because we have lack of time and we need to cover state machine. Okay, so now I'm coming directly to the state machine. So state machine is also a type of workflow. It provides a modeling style with which you can model your workflow in an event driven manner. So if event driven manner, it means like here if you come to see the state machine, I'll take one state machine from here, and you can see it is looking similar to somehow this flowchart, but actually it is not. Here the functioning is completely different from the state machine that we'll see. So what is the meaning of this event driven manner is like it goes into a state when it is triggered by an activity, and it exits that state when another activity is triggered. So that I'll tell you that what is going on here. So what I'm saying, it is working on the event driven manner. So here something we'll start with this. There are basically two activities that are specific to the state machine. So basically two types of activities that you need. A state machine I added from here, and if you add the state machine, simply let me remove this one first. After that I'll tell you. Just to show you something like here if I search for the state machine, so here you can find three options. The one is the state machine, then the final state and the state. Here in the PPT I have written that there are two activities that are specific to a state machine, but when I search in the activities panel I can find three activities. One is the state machine, one is state, and next is the final state. So what is this? So state machine, like if you want to add something in this, like if you create the state machine from here, new part, then it is not a problem. You can directly add the state and final state here. Okay, but like if I want to add, I want to create state machine in the main part, and if you directly add this state or final state, you cannot do so because you will you can see I'm not able to drag and drop the activities here in this main part. So because like for that what I need this state machine, so it acts as a scope. Okay, so whenever you will learn the Excel and Word automation, there you also see like to use the Excel application scope and Word application scope. So in the same manner I need to add the state machine, so this will act as a scope. Now it get added. Now I can add this state and whatever I want to add, this is state or final state inside this particular state. Now you can see it is looking similar to the state machine which I added from here. Okay, so now let's move further. Now I'll add the first state, that is the state, and now this is the final state. These two states are required. And what is transition here, that I'll also tell you. So every state machine has two activities that are specific to a state machine. This is the state and the final state. So now I'll enter into the state in a state machine. So state has three sections. Now I'll open this state. You can see as I opened this state which I added inside the state machine, I'm getting three sections. The first one is the entry section, next is the exit section, and here I'm getting this as a transitions. Okay. So the state or the entry and exit states enable user to add the entry exit trigger or selected state. So whatever you will add in the entry and exit state, that will get executed. And at the here starting point, I told you that it is a type of workflow which provides a modeling style with which you can model your workflow in an event driven manner. So how execution will go, whenever execution will start, it will firstly go to this entry state. Now without going to this exit state, it will directly jump to this transitions. Okay, and go and check there the condition and trigger. I'll move further for the transition, so then I'll show you. So firstly it will go to the entry state and then go to the transition without exiting from this particular state. And whenever condition met true, so whatever condition is there in the transition section, if that condition get true, then firstly it will exit this particular state, and based on that condition whatever action you have written will get executed. Okay, so here we have opened this particular states, and here we find three types of three sections. One is the entry section, exit section, and transition section. So this is the transition section, displays all the transition links to the selected state, and each state must have at least one transition. So suppose when I come out of this, firstly I need to set this one as a start node. Okay, now you can see I'm getting error here without, I have not written anything inside the entry and exit section, even though I'm getting error. So error is like here, you can see the error is state must have at least one transition. So at least one transition is required, so I'll connect this to the final state. Now this is the transition and error has gone. Now you can see the name of the transition is T1. And now if you'll open here, so now you can see earlier nothing was there. Now I can find this is the T1 transition and its the destination is final state which I added. Now if you click to this transition state, so here you can find three sections. The firstly you can see the source of this particular transition T1. If you want, you can rename this from here. And the first is the trigger. So what is a trigger here? So a trigger are nothing but the, come to the transition trigger here, it trigger waits for the some type of event to occur. Okay, and here it is not necessary to have some activity. Either you can write some activity or you can leave this activity as it is. Okay, and then here next is the condition. The trigger part gets executed if something is there, if not it will directly jump to the condition part. If you add something in the trigger, okay, and based on this trigger you applied the condition, so till the point your condition met true, this loop will continue. This the condition, if your condition gets false, it again go to the trigger, then again condition check. So till the point it gets the condition met true, till then this loop will continue. If condition met true, then again it will go to the state which I added and it will leave from there. Means exit section till now not gets executed. Whenever my condition met true, then it will leave the this particular state and then it will execute this particular action part, whatever you have written in this particular action part. Now come to the final state. What is the final state here? This is the final state. Final state contain only the empty section. Basically, it's represent as a terminating state, means it end the machine cycle. Okay. So now we will simply see the simple example only. We'll add some message box so that you people can understand that how its execution is going on. Entry section being executed. Okay. And here I'm writing this as the exit
ma'am, I have one doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Can we call this state machine is a rule-based automation?
No, rule-based automation we cannot call. Basically, we use this state machine in case of the RE framework. So here the understanding of state machine is required because we at the end we need to learn the RE framework, and whenever you will go here, come to the templates part, and here you can see the robotic enterprises from framework. If you'll click here, it is completely based on the state machine. So this is just a minute. Let it get open. So yeah, now you can see this. If you want to understand this, you should have the understanding of the state machine. So that is why we are learning the state machine there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Hmm. Thank you. So we were here. We added two message box. Okay, so the enter section being executed and exit section being executed. Now we have to come to the transition part. I'll click here in the transition section, and now I'll add this input dialog box activity. Here again, this is for name. Please enter your name, and here I'll create one variable as name. Okay, so this is done. I created inside this trigger. Now I'll put the condition name equal to, suppose I have provided the condition name equal to Shalini. Okay, and if it is this, if this is true, I'll again take one action message box inside this action box, and I'll write here as hello Shalini. I have written here, and at the end come to the final step. Here I'll again add one message box activity. States have been executed. Okay, so now let's start its execution, and we will see how it is being executed. So now you can see it comes inside this state, and now intersection is being executed. After that, what we can see here, this is not in the exit section. We added this here inside this transition part. This input dialog box is being added here, has been added in this trigger section. Now I'll write the name other than Shalini. Okay, or I'll write this in the small letters, even though this condition will not be true. Now what you can see, now condition not found true, even though now again and again till the point this condition may true, this loop will gets executed. Now I'll write the correct name, thus as Shalini. So what is happening here? I added inside this action part hello Shalini, but what I'm getting, exit section being executed. So where this exit section, it is leaving from this particular exit section of the entry part, this particular state. So it is leaving this particular state first, and then now I'm getting the action part, whatever I have added, that is hello Shalini, and after that it will execute the all states have been executed, means final state is being executed. One more thing I forgot to tell you, like in case of the flowchart you have only means you can create only four, you will get only four nodes, but here in case of the states you can create n number of conditions. Like you can see at each and every point you will get nodes. Okay, the last example for today's session that I skipped in the flowchart, this example I'll take here. This is the Yeah, this example. Now here we will build a guessing game. Okay, so here firstly what we will do, yeah, one more thing. Okay, then just leave. Then this example we will cover. So build a guessing game that generates a random number between 1 to 100. Means the UiPath Studio will generate a number between 1 to 100 or the range you will provide, and now user have to guess that particular number. Okay, and if it is true, then based on that we will put the conditions. So let's start. This we'll do using the state machine. We can use the same example by using the flowchart also, but we are not having that much time, so that is why I have not covered. So here, guess game. Okay, so firstly what I want the number to be generated by the state this UiPath Studio. So firstly I'll take this. Just double click here in the intersection. I'll use this assign activity. Okay, or firstly I'll create two variables so that I can directly use. This is for the random number. Okay, and it would be of string type, sorry, integer type, and the next number, guess number, which will be provided by the user. And here I'll take the sign activity. Okay, 5, and here I'll go for the random number. To generate a random number, we have the function here or VB expression here, that is new, then random, and now you have to use the parenthesis dot next, and you have to provide the range. Suppose range for me is 1 to 100. I want to generate a number between 1 to 100. So I'll show you again that what function I have written. This is that new random, then parenthesis next, and you have to provide the range. Okay, so now it will generate a random number between 1 to 100. Now I'll again add one more state to guess a number. Here I added one more state and I'll connect here. Just click here, and here I'll take one input dialog box activity. Dialog will be guess number. Please enter please enter a number between 1 to 100. Okay, and if it is done, then I'll store this in the guess number. As you can see, now I'm not getting the output. I'm not getting the variable which I created. Why? Because I need to change the scope. Here the scope is state. I need to change it to the whole state machine, that is guess game, and now I'll use it here. The value entered by the user, guess game, and here what I'll do, now I'll add the okay, error I'm getting because no transition have been added. Okay, so now after that I'll add the final state, and after that here I'll add this as game over, and now I'll add the transition, means condition if user, here this T2 transition. Just click here, and here I'll add as the condition, that is guess number is equal to the random number. Okay, if this is the condition, then I'll use the message box, and here I'll write congratulations, you won the game. simply I have written this. Okay, and come back again. If it is false, means the user guess is not true. I'll change the display name also. This is the condition for true. This is the condition if it is true. Now I'll take 5 more minutes. That's it, not more than that. And here now I am adding this one, like if user will guess. Now I'll add the condition here that this is 42 if guess number is greater than the random number. If guess number is greater than the number random number, so what message you want to display to the user, like please guess a smaller number. Okay, so here I'll write inside the action part, guess smaller number or try smaller, whatever you want to write. Okay, so guess smaller number. So now it gets added, and smaller, so that I can also identify that what is going on here. Okay, so try smaller. Now one more condition I need to add. Just click here. Again I'll put the condition like my guess number is less than the random number. Then action part, I'll add one message box. Okay, guess number is less than, try larger. Come out of this. This is done. So here what we have done, firstly here in this state we have generated a random number. You can rename it from here also. That is, this is for a random number generator. Okay, and here it is guessed by the user. You can identify each and every state. So here user is guessing, here random number gets generated. So whenever user will guess, now after that I added it to the final state. If condition met true, then I have here inside the condition part I have written the guess number is equal to the random number, and inside the action part I have added like you won the game. And if this is not true, like the guess number is less than the random number, or sorry, guess number is larger than the number this random number, then I added this condition and this transition, and here we have added this next transition. So let's debug this particular activity. So now it is asking me to please enter a number between 1 to 100. So suppose I'll enter the number as 50. So now you can see it is asking me to like guess a number, guess a smaller number. So I need to guess a number less than 50, 30. So number is between 20 to 30, because now I am getting try larger. So now I am writing here as 25, guess smaller number. So number is between 20 to 25. Here I'll write this is 23. So number was 23. You can also see like which number, and now the final states gets executed, game over. Okay, so you can also see the number generated by the system. Just go into the step into activity from debug. Now it will execute each and activity one by one. So click here into the step into. Now you can see this section is being executed where a random number gets generated. Currently you can see the numbers are 0 and 0. Now whenever it is come out of this number, you can see the now the random number gets generated is 37. Okay, now click on the step into. So now it has gone to the second state. Okay, and here it will ask the user to provide the input. So this is basically so that you can, if somehow you are getting errors, so you can go with this debug and step into activity so that you can identify. So now the user provide also 37. Okay, again I'll press to this step into activity. Now you can see the random number generated was 37 and user provided input as this 37. Here you can see the condition, which condition is being checked, guess number equal to the random number. Okay, now what is true. Now click on the step into. Now this message box is being executed whenever I'll click Now you can see this is being displayed. Okay, so this is how you can use this state machine and different types of workflows present in the UiPath Studio. So I hope you understood whatever been covered in this session. So thank you everyone. If anyone having any doubts, so please free to ask. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, you're audible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So participants, do you have any doubt? Please, you can unmute your mic and answer, or post it in chat box. Ma'am, I have one doubt. May I ask?
Yes, yes, sir. Sure.
I have some experience on using the tool like Nice is one of the automation tool, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, that tool helps how to capture the application screens and all, right? By
Yes.
capturing the application screen, we can pass the data from the tool to application.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible in UiPath?
In UiPath, yeah, you can extract the data from anywhere, and you want to extract the data from two applications.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, it is possible here.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any queries from participants? Mostly after lunch. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay. Um, Lakshmi Priya ma'am?
Sir?
Okay. The almost okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And Shalini ma'am, thank you so much for informative presentation on in and out of UiPath tool and different types of workflow what it has, and for the so many demonstration on how this workflow is used in automation. Thank you once again
Thank you.
for
Thank you, sir.
that you took to share your experience with us. Can
Thank
you
you, sir.
please share your PPT with us so that the participants
Yeah.
can
Yes, sir.
uh,
Surely, I'll share.
can be practiced during the free time by the participants? Can you share that?
Yes, sir. Surely, I'll share.
Thank you once again. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.